What's up, guys? This is Pete with another take, and I will be giving my second round of recommendations for reading. So let's begin with today's segment. The first book I would like to recommend, this is one of the early books that I read, Bartolomé de las Casas, The Devastations of the Indies. This one, however, was translated by Andrew Hurley. This is a really good book to have, and it's called An Account, Much Abbreviated, of the Destruction of the Indies, with related text. Okay, this is a cool book to have. This is Las Casas' account of the occurrences that took place in the Antilles during the early days of the conquest, the mistreatment of the natives, and so on, and the things that have taken place. This is a really good book to have, and anyone that's just starting out, you want to have this book because you want to get an understanding of the historical events that has occurred, that has led to the many changes that has taken place. So this is a good book to have. An account, much abbreviated, of the destruction of the Indies. The next book, this is by Samuel M. Wilson, who's also the author of The Indigenous People of the Caribbean, and it's called Hispaniola, Caribbean Cheifdoms in the Age of Columbus. Okay, this is an older book by Samuel M. Wilson, and it's pretty much, he's dealing with the Circum-Caribbean chiefdoms in Quisqueya, otherwise we call Hispaniola by the Spanish, that will account for Haiti and the Dominican Republic as a collective from a historical perspective. This is another good book to have, Hispaniola, Caribbean Chiefdoms in the Age of Columbus by Samuel M. Wilson. The next book that I would like to mention, this is one of the earlier books that I've read. I believe this is by Charles Gibson. Yeah, Charles Gibson. Okay, and it's called Spain in America. This is also another good source that you want to have. There's some good references in there that you can use. And also another one, okay, this is probably one of my favorites by Loida Figueroa, and it's called History of Puerto Rico. Okay. Let me just grab something from here real quick. History of Puerto Rico from the beginning to the year 1892. This is by Loida Figueroa. Okay, so if you are an individual of Boricua descent, this is a classic book that you want to have in your library by Loida Figueroa. It's a lot of references, there's a lot of connections with historical events and all that stuff. It's a great book to have. My last pick that I would like to cite for today is a book that's by Peter Hulme and Neil L. Whitehead. Okay, it's called Wild Majesty. Encounters with Caribs from Columbus to the present day. Okay, Wild Majesty. This is a good book to have. Okay, this would go into the whole historical aspect of the Kalinago men, which the Spanish often refer to as Caribs. Okay, so these are my recommendations for books to read. Closing out, there's 3 categories that I would like the student to consider. The first part would be is the historical aspect, because from there we can get a take of putting together a timeline of the events that took place, and then from there to try to make sense out of them. The second part, which is the obvious, is the linguistic aspect. Regardless of what level that you are on, you want to have an idea with the linguistic aspect, meaning the words that was used, about toponyms, personal pronouns, and also relationships. Okay, those things are very important. And the last one would be the archaeology. Okay, the archaeological aspect, in my opinion, would be the foundation. Okay, because it will help to help us to get answers from things that we cannot get from the linguistic part, and also from parts that we cannot get from the historical. Like a puzzle, when you put them together, it helps you to make sense better of the crime scene. Okay, so if you want to learn more about what we're doing, you want to check out the language group on Facebook, Bohiota Nene. And for more on Taino books, I recommend you check out Taino Library for books. They always have stuff up for books that you can get that's available on PDF. So this is my take for today. This is Peter Mola, and until next time.